around Bath on 2 weeks ago when we were doing the talk there, and I came across this unbelievable sign which said, "I am who I am because of everyone." It was some sort of corporation, telephone or whatever. I am who I am because of everyone. I mean, this is Patrick McGowan's worst nightmare. First of all, it doesn't even make sense grammatically, because if I am what I am because of everyone, then where's the I involved? So you see the paradox already in there? But they're willing to hang with that paradox, as most people are. So that's why I said, I am not concerned about the global village per se. I'm much more concerned about the kind of creature that's going to inhabit it. The kind of creature that's being formed right now, who believes this kind of thing, who's just delighted to have this kind of ideology to buy into. In the Prisoner series, by the way, in the very opening scenes, they use a term which is by hook or by crook. When the controllers are saying that they're going to get his soul, they're going to get his spirit, they're going to break him, they say, by hook or by crook, we will do it. And that, again, is one of these important phrases to analyze, because it actually refers to the rule, it refers actually to the methodology of how the controllers work. The hook and the crook are the monarchic or autocratic control on one side, you see, and on the other side, the theocratic matrix of control. Two forms, one to appeal to the body and the control of your behavior, and the other one to control your emotions. Religion and monarchy. This is the way the divide and rule works. And by the way, the double-headed eagle that you see there has a crown above it. So above this is some sort of royal personage, and those who've studied my work on Athenism and Akhenaten will know why that crown exists. It's not the crown of the monarchs you see in the world, because of course that couldn't be the case, isn't it? Because that's one part of the eagle. One part of the eagle's head is the monarchy, the autocratic control, including the military and so forth, and the other one is the theocracy of the religious orders. So that means that the crown above the head is neither of those, it's separate altogether. Just like the capstone at the top of the power pyramid is also separate. And that needs to be sort of pointed out. But ultimately it's a divide and rule concept. Again, their own works show you this. In hoc signe vince is, by the sign I will conquer. What sign? There. The cross and the crown. Religion and monarchy. The fusion of those two things, they're united. The cross swords and the Malta cross. To control the mind and the body and the emotions. And here's an important word that maybe we need to look at with fresh eyes. Truth. It's used a lot, bandied around a lot. Do we really understand that truth is it's really the same word for reality? And if we don't see reality as it is, in other words, if we have an idea of reality, then where's the truth? And we do. We all have these ideas of reality that need to be deconstructed. Some might not need to be thrown out. Some may. Like Shakespeare said, it's often just one flaw that can bring the whole, the whole personality down. Here's another one that seems rather controversial. Do we know that truth is one of the most destructive things on earth? Is that perhaps why the narcissistic, egoistic part of us has nothing to do with it? Because truth is ultimately very deconstructive, very destructive. What happens to lies in the presence of truth? Well, it's an old story. The ancients knew all about it. They even had personified it by certain gods, certain archetypes, like Shiva. And the West has its own versions of those archetypes as well. And you can better believe that in the shamanic tradition, they've got it. Because when you come in front of the shaman, the true shaman, that's what's going to be dealt with. That's what you're going to be dealing with, is the deconstruction of all of those false selves and shards. They're not going to be dealing with you as a collective entity at that point. They're going to be dealing with you as an individual if you've got it. And they're going to work to remove everything that does not have its roots in selfhood. Now, see, we have these very romantic ideas about these shamanic groups, as if, when we talk about the Native American Indians or the Druids or the Ammonists, the holy, holy people, and we still think of that of modern-day India. No. The collective groups, whether they're Native American, they're a bunch of mass-murdering butchers and sadists and greedy people like everybody else. When you're talking about shamanism, you're talking about a very small group, a tribe within a tribe. Same with the Druids. And they knew what the tribe was. Bickering, lost, contradictory. The shaman is a very different being. He's not part of a tribe. You see, he's part of the earth. He's part of something completely different, a brotherhood of men like himself, or women like himself. So that has to be dispelled as well, this romantic idea that all the ancients had something, wonderfully glowing about them. Not so. These people their job was to monitor the pestilence even in their own tribes. The dynamics, the unhealthy dynamics there, that was the first priority of the medicine man. Coming more up to date, the great novelist D.H. Lawrence said that, are you willing to be sponged out, erased, cancelled, made nothing? Are you willing to be made nothing, dipped into oblivion? If not, you will never really change. Now, it sounds really negative on paper, doesn't it? But as the alchemist Figulus said, bodies cannot be changed except by reduction to their first matter. We have this idea through all this mind control that change and evolution and development is from where I am, I go forth. I go higher up the hierarchy. I start here, I go there. Whoever gave us this idea? Does a field do that? If you keep doing that, the field will stop being fertile. Where's the fallow period? Where's the gray area? Where's the deconstruction? Where's the reduction? As a matter of fact, the phoenix must burn down before it can rise again. This was the original alchemical story, the real mystical story. Are we doing that in today's world of acquisitiveness and affluence? Of course not. It's all get and gain and have and own and territorialize. Well, we're not going to be able to do that in spiritual terms. There needs to be a thorough revision of what we understand to be spirituality. Because if our ego's in charge of the job, then ruin will be the result of it. And here is one of the most misunderstood words, probably in the English language. There's many others, but this is certainly one of the up there, near the top, along with words like vengeance and violence and so forth and so on. So it's not about conceiving new things, it's about looking at what we think we know with new eyes. What is anger? Does it change our understanding when we realize that anger is a form of defense? In exactly the same way, if you're under attack biologically, your white blood cells come to your rescue, the immune system. Perhaps anger is also a defense against attack of various forms. Have we ever looked at that way, that there's a blue flame of anger, which was brought out brilliantly in the movie Hellboy, as opposed to the red flame of anger, which we all know when little misdemeanors and infractions, we just react in a sort of an infantile way. That's the anger we know. But is there a spiritual form of anger that is extremely necessary when we need to burn down the thorn bushes and the pathogens that stand in the way of our true selves? Again, we're exploring this together. I'm not asserting any point. We're just reviewing what we think we know. And in this tyranny that we're talking about, this particular form of both psychic dictatorship and our own internal self-sadism, we have to factor in the body and the emotions. It's very important. Now, Jules Henry, the American anthropologist, said, to think deeply in our culture is to grow angry and to anger others. And if you cannot tolerate this anger, you're wasting the time you spend thinking deeply. One of the rewards of deep thought is the hot glow of anger at discovering a wrong. But if anger is taboo, then thought will starve to death. And I've sort of paraphrased that in other ways, in other times, by saying that, look, you shouldn't be okay with injustice. You shouldn't be okay with something that's diseased and rotten. And you shouldn't try to prop up something that's ready to fall that is rotten. This is the Chevaic understanding. There's a time to build and create, but there's also a time to let something that's completely rotten fall. You don't get in there and try to prop it up. There's a natural cycle. Nature has it, the winter cycle. And we happen now to be in a cycle that this deconstructive model is very much coming into effect. And we need to get with that gig. What's the opposite? Well, the architects of control and their lackeys are happy to tell you. Martin Luther said, nothing is more poisonous, harmful, or devilish than a man in rebellion. Yeah, to them, to their apparatus. But as Jim Hightower reminds us, America wasn't built by conformists, but by mutineers. And Ayn Rand, of whom so much drivel is written, it's a study in itself.